Huh? Good morning, Ashwini and Akshata, I guess. No, who is 39?
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Okay, Ashwini, please inform others to join quickly.
Yes, sir.
Okay, as usual, guys, before we start the class, I want you to be in the video mode. And once I start the class, you can off the videos. Okay, can I have everyone in the video mode, please? 39, 51, 35, 55, 47. Okay, who is 35, 55, 47? Who is 47, 27? Okay, guys, we'll get started. Should I take the attendance? Okay, I'll take the attendance in somewhere in between so that you are also attentive, you don't go to sleep. Okay. In between, whenever you feel like, or I feel like you're getting bored, I'll ask you to give the attendance. Okay. Yes. So today officially we are going to start with the first unit of mergers and acquisition. Before starting, there are certain things that you need to do on your own. Okay. One thing is, see, mergers and acquisition class is basically a more interactive class. Okay, I know it is difficult to have a lot of interaction during online classes, but let's try to have a bit of interaction. Okay, so what I want you to do is, let me get started with the first unit today. But I want you to list down at least 15 mergers or acquisitions that you know. Any 15, whether it has happened in India, whether it has happened in the world, wherever it is, you need to know at least 15 to 20 mergers and acquisitions and read a bit about it. Like whether it is a merger, whether it is an acquisition, whether it is a joint venture, etc. Okay, because I want you all to connect the concepts with the practice. Okay, when I give an example, you will come to know. Well, you will remember things. If I just tell you theory, you will not be able to remember those concepts. But when you relate it to a particular example, then you will be able to understand. Like when I say joint venture and I say, let's say Hero Honda is a joint venture between Hero Motocorp and Honda. That was a joint venture. So you will remember. When I say joint venture, okay, you will recall Hero Honda and you will be able to write. Okay, so that is the reason why I want you to come up with at least 20 mergers and acquisitions and read a bit about all these mergers and acquisitions. Is it okay? Just list down 20 mergers and acquisitions. If it is okay, please give a thumbs up. As usual, you know the rules of the game. Okay, great. Fine. And later what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you to choose one merger and acquisition. Let's see if we can do it in a group or we can do it individually. Okay, and you have to give a presentation on that particular merger and acquisition, starting from what are those two companies. Let's say if it is between Adani and Indian Oil. Okay, so what is Adani, what is Indian Oil, then what is that joint venture about, and what is the after joint venture, what is their growth and what is their business. All these things, it would be 3 phases: before merger, during the merger, and post merger. Okay, so you have to study the entire thing about that particular merger that you have chosen. So 2 tasks that you have to do. One is list down 15 or to 20 mergers and acquisitions, okay, or joint ventures. Second task is that will become later, where I'll ask you to choose one and then give a presentation. If it is okay, give a thumbs up and we'll get started. Okay, great. Okay, so just confirm if you can see the screen. Is the screen visible?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so let's start with the first unit, that is mergers. Okay, basically, as we have already discussed, we will be dealing with. Just a minute, what happened? So what would we be dealing with in this particular unit is introduction to corporate restructuring, rationale behind mergers and acquisitions and corporate restructuring. What is merger? The types of mergers, motive behind mergers. Then the most important, that is the theories of merger, and then what is efficiency theory and other theories. So this is what we are going to study in the first unit. Okay, to be very frank to you, this is the one of the biggest modules that you want to study, okay, in mergers and acquisition, because this module is very important, which will tell you the basics of mergers acquisitions. Okay, so let's get started. Okay, first of all, if you see, every company needs to grow and expand, right? Every company wants to grow and expand. Then you are looking for new product and distribution channel. Right, these are the things that the company looks for. They want to grow, they want to expand, they want to come up with new products or distribution channel, or you need to strengthen your position in the global marketplace. You want to enter into the global market and you want to strengthen your position over there. You need to surpass your competitors. You want to overcome your competition. Okay, and you need to do all this quickly. Okay, now when we talk about mergers, okay, let me ask you this question. If I say you want to earn, let's say, 1 crore rupees within 2 months, how will you do it? Okay, you have to come to the video mode and answer. If you want to earn 2 crore rupees in 2 months, what will you do? Or 1 crore, let's say, not 2 crores, let's say 1 crore in 2 months. What will you do? Anyone?
So this is something that you told earlier. Get married to a rich person.
Very nice, right? Get married to a rich person because you don't have time. Correct? If I told you to earn 1 crore rupees in, let's say, 5 years, you could have done it by working or by starting a business and doing something. That was possible. But when I say 2 months, it's not possible. Am I right? 2 months, you cannot earn 1 crore. Okay. So the best way to earn 1 crore is to get married to a rich guy or a rich girl. Okay. That is what merger is all about. If you want to grow, expand, if you want to have new product channels, distribution channels, strengthen your position in global markets, surpass your competitors, and you want to do it quickly, then better go for merger, acquisition, and restructuring. That's the only option available to you. Join hands with a bigger company so that you become big. Okay, so that is why merger, acquisition, and corporate restructuring is done. Okay, then introduction to corporate restructuring. Okay, now corporate restructuring is basically to restructure your entire organization structure or rework on your organization structure. Now, in the previous classes or previous semesters, you might have studied what is an organization structure, right? Okay, organization structure basically talks about the hierarchical relationship between the individuals working in a particular organization. So corporate restructuring is basically changing this hierarchical structure. Not only the human beings, but also the corporates. Like there is a corporate office and there are different branches and all those things. So all these things keep on changing. Okay, that is called as corporate restructuring. So what is corporate restructuring? Let us try to understand that. Corporate restructuring implies activities related to expansion or contraction of firm's operations or changes in its assets or financial and ownership structure. Okay, so this is the definition of corporate restructuring, which says that which is the activity which is related to expansion and contraction. Now, when we talk about restructuring, we always talk about growth or expanding. No, it's not only about growth and expansion. It is also about contraction. Okay, like reducing. For example, let's say I have 10 businesses, 10 different types of businesses, but only 6 of them are doing well. Four of the businesses which I had started are not doing well. Okay, or I'm not getting enough profits from those 4 businesses. What do? Should I still expand it from 10 to 15, or should I reduce it from 10 to 6? Okay, anyone? Okay, I have 10 businesses, out of which 6 of them are doing well, 4 of them are not doing well at all, and there are no chances that this condition will improve. In that case, what should I do? Yes, Rashmi?
So the businesses that are not performing well should be closed down, and then the business which are performing well should be concentrated more on. Sir.
Very nice. Yes, that's what is corporate restructuring. So I have 10 businesses, 6 are doing well, 4 are not doing well. I'll come out of the businesses of those 4 businesses. Okay, that is, I sell them off or I liquidate those companies and then concentrate on these 6 companies which are really doing well. That is corporate restructuring, and that is called as contraction. You're reducing your size of the business from 10 units or 10 businesses, you're reducing it to 6 businesses. That is called as contraction. Expansion is basically you have 10 businesses, you add 1 more or 2 more, become 12, that becomes expansion. Okay, but both the things are corporate restructuring. Whether it is expansion or contraction, both come under corporate restructuring. So the corporate restructuring is an umbrella term that includes mergers and consolidations, divestitures and liquidations, and various types of battles for corporate control. That is what is corporate restructuring. Are you clear with this slide? Are you clear with what is corporate restructuring? If yes, give a thumbs up quickly. You can move ahead. Okay, great. Okay, so again, introduction to corporate restructuring, continue. The essence of corporate restructuring lies in achieving the long-run goal of wealth maximization. Why you need to do corporate restructuring? Because your ultimate goal is wealth maximization, that is increasing the wealth of the shareholders and other stakeholders, right? So it helps us to know if restructuring generates value gains for shareholders, both those who own the shares before restructuring and those who own the shares after restructuring. How these value gains have been created and achieved or paid. Have you gained anything or you have failed to achieve anything? So that is what is corporate restructuring. Okay. Then let's understand the rationale behind mergers and acquisitions and corporate restructuring. Why do we need to do it? Why it's required? Though in the first slide, I told you about if you want to grow quickly, if you want to expand quickly, you have to go for mergers and acquisition. Now let us understand specifically why or what are the motives behind mergers and acquisition. Okay. So mergers and acquisition and corporate restructuring are big part of corporate finance world. 1 + 1 makes 3. Okay, if you remember when I was introducing you to the syllabus, I spoke about this. 1 + 1 makes 3. That is called a synergy. Okay, this equation is specially alchemy of mergers and acquisition. That is, if one company and the other company, that is 1 + 1, come together, it's not 2, but they become 3. That is, they get something extra. If they were working individually, yes, they have their own strengths and weaknesses, but when they come together, they get something extra. Okay, that is called a synergy. Okay, that is why we call it in mergers and acquisition context, we call 1 + 1 makes 3. Okay, so the key principle behind buying a company is to create shareholders value over and above that of sum of two companies. That is what I was talking about, is synergy. Two companies together are more valuable than two separate companies. Is it clear to everyone? I hope you are understanding this logic. Okay, if it is yes, give a thumbs up, guys. If it is no, you can unmute and ask. Okay, fair enough. Okay, then this rationale is particularly alluring to companies when times are tough. Okay, when do you go for mergers and acquisition? When normally the times are tough. In normal situations, you will never go for a merger and acquisition because you're doing well, everything is going on fine. You don't think of a merger or acquisition. But when the times are tough, when you're facing some issues with your expansion, with finances, or with your technology, with the human resource, etc., then you will think of a merger or an acquisition. Okay, so that is the rationale. Then strong companies will act to buy other companies to create a competitive, cost-efficient company. Okay, it's always the stronger companies which buy the smaller companies because they want to make it more competitive or make it more cost-efficient. Okay, companies will come together hoping to gain a greater market share or to achieve greater efficiency. Definitely, when two companies come together, let's say one company has a 10% market share, another company has 15% market share. Both of them come together. Together, they will enjoy more than 25% of the market share. Okay, that is why they come together. And because of these potential benefits, target companies will often agree to be purchased when they know they cannot survive alone. So this is another rationale behind mergers and acquisition. Smaller companies know the benefits of mergers and acquisition, and that is the reason why they agree to the terms and conditions of the bigger company or to the acquirer, because they know they will not be able to survive if they are alone, and that is why they get merged or get acquired by some other company. So if you see from a normal perspective, guys, all this is related to marriage, because you know you cannot survive alone, you get married to someone. Okay, you know you cannot do well, there are lot of problems, maybe on financial grounds and personal grounds, so you want someone to be with you, so you get married. Okay, so these are the reasons, or you want someone to accompany you, or that is why you get married. So the same thing applies to mergers and acquisition as well. Okay, so mergers happen between two companies, marriages happen between two people. That's the only difference, but the intentions are same, the procedure is same, etc. Okay, we'll know the procedure also, and then you will realize that yes, the procedure is also same, though most of you have not undergone that process, but still I'm preparing you for that process, let's say. Okay. Yes. Now let's understand the difference between merger and acquisition. Though we use these words quite continuously, we normally say mergers and acquisition, but merger is different, acquisition is different. Okay. So before going ahead, can somebody tell me what is the difference between merger and acquisition? Let me have an interaction rather than a one-way traffic. Can somebody tell me what is merger and what is acquisition, or how they are different from each other? Anyone?
So when it comes,
Yes. Who is this? Rashmi?
the Rashmi.
Yeah, Rashmi.
So when it comes to merger, two companies come together and form a new company, sir, with
Yes.
either the existing name of the one company or a combined name of both the companies, sir.
Okay.
And acquisition is one company completely purchases or takes over another company, sir.
Yes. Very nice. So one company loses its existence, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Okay. Fine. Any other answer to this? Anyone else? Any other answer?
So in mergers, the two or more companies combine to form a new company, but it can be with the name of existing company or with the name of new company.
Rohan, I guess Rashmi told the same thing. Anything else? Okay. Now pay attention. Okay. In case of merger, two firms together form a new company. After the merger, the separately owned companies become jointly owned and obtain a new single identity. Okay, whereas in acquisition, one firm takes over the another and establishes its power as a single owner. So that is what both of you said, Rashmi and Rohit. Okay, this is what is the first one. Second one is when two firms merge, stocks of both are surrendered and new stocks in the name of new companies are issued. Agree with this? Okay, both companies come together and there will be a new company which is going to be formed. So both the companies will surrender their shares and new shares will be issued to the shareholders, which bears the name of the combined company. Okay, which would be the new company, which would be issued under the new company. Okay, whereas generally in acquisition, if you see, the firms which take over is the bigger and stronger one. The relatively less powerful, smaller firm loses its existence, and the firm taking over runs the whole business with its own identity. That means the shares of the target company. Now, first let us understand what is this target company. Acquirer is the company which is acquiring the other company, and the company which is getting acquired is called as the target company. For example, let's say A wants to acquire B, or A is acquiring B. Then A becomes the acquirer, whereas B becomes the target. Okay, so basically what happens in acquisition is target company has to surrender its shares and new shares of the acquiring company will be issued to the existing shareholders of target company. That is what happens in acquisition. Okay, then mergers takes place between two companies of more or less same size. Okay, merger is between equal companies most of the time. Okay, in this cases the process is called as merger of equals. Whereas unlike the mergers in acquisition, normally there is a bigger company and there is a smaller company. Okay, so in case of acquisition, the bigger company will acquire the smaller company, so they are not equal. They are, one is superior, one is inferior. That is what happens in acquisition. Then in case of merger, when the deal is made between two companies is friendly terms, it is typically proclaimed as merger regardless of whether it is a buyout. Okay, so normally when you talk about merger, both companies agree to the terms and conditions and then they come together. So it is mutual. The merger happens mutually. Whereas sometimes in case of acquisition, it is unfriendly. We also call it as hostile. I don't want myself to get acquired, but somebody forces me to get, or somebody forcefully acquires my company. So that is called as a hostile takeover or unfriendly takeover or acquisition. Okay, so that cannot happen in merger. In merger, normally there is a mutual consent between both the companies and then they come together. In case of acquisitions, sometimes it may be a hostile takeover. So that is the difference between merger and an acquisition. Is it clear to everyone? Are you clear with the differences between merger and acquisition? Okay, so if I want to go back, if you see, first one is in terms of formation of company, second is in terms of shares, third is in terms of whether the companies are of equal size or they are, one is bigger and one is smaller, and fourth one is whether it is mutual or whether it is hostile. So this is how we differentiate on 4 grounds. Okay, on the basis of formation of the company, on the basis of shares, on the basis of size of the companies, okay, and on the basis of the mutual or hostile. Okay, that is how the difference is found out. Okay, then the rationale of restructuring, that is corporate restructuring. Why do we go for corporate restructuring? Again, repetition. Okay, to increase focus on 4 areas. Okay, if you remember, I had given you an example where Rashmi answered. Okay, I have 10 businesses, 6 are doing well, 4 are not doing well. So what should I do? I'll get rid of those 4 and concentrate on my 6 businesses. So that increases my focus over those 6 businesses. That is the first reason why I should go for corporate restructuring. To reduce cost or communication delays, levels of hierarchy. Sometimes we restructure the hierarchy levels to reduce the cost and communication delays. Okay, we make it more flatter. Okay, so to flatten organization, to encourage culture and initiative and innovation. So when there is a vertical organization structure, there is lack of innovation. Everything is centralized. The orders come from top. Okay, whereas if it is a flatter organization structure, then everybody contributes. There is a lot of innovation that happens, and everybody initiates and try to give their inputs, and that is how the organization grows. Okay, so that is what is a flatter organization structure is. Okay, and to reshape the organization, I want to reshape the organization, give new responsibilities to people, etc. Okay, reduce responsibilities from some people. That is the reason why I go for restructuring. Then to concede shareholders, consultants, guidelines, and to overcome entry barriers. Okay, sometimes we go for restructuring to overcome the entry barriers. For example, I'll just give you a simple example here. Okay, did Renault company, you know, everybody is aware of Renault company, okay, which manufactures cars or automobiles for that matter. Okay, it's a French company. Okay, and Renault entered India Renault entered India alone, or did it take help of some other company? Did Renault enter India as a whole solely owned company, or did it enter India with somebody else? Guys, I hope you're understanding my question.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, so can you tell me, did Renault
Yes, sir.
enter India alone?
Sir, they entered with Nissan.
No, not Nissan, Narayan.
Sir, it was in Google.
It's not Nissan. Renault entered India with Mahindra. It was Mahindra Renault. And the first car that they launched was Logan. Okay. In the similar way, Honda entered India with Hero. Okay. Then Samurai, okay, entered India with Bajaj. Similarly, we have there are many companies, in fact. Okay.
Suzuki, sir.
Suzuki entered India with, again, Suzuki. Yeah, Suzuki
Maruti.
entered Maruti. Suzuki entered with
Suzuki.
Maruti, right? Okay, so these are the companies, the foreign companies which entered India with the help of an Indian company, because there were entry barriers. You cannot invest into India directly. Is the barrier that has been created by the laws. Okay, so to overcome these barriers, what did they do? They tied up, or they came up with a joint venture with an Indian company. They came to India. After some years, that joint venture was broken, and now they are solely owned companies of, let's say, Renault or Suzuki, etc. Okay. Now, if you see Suzuki, it was Maruti Suzuki. Now it is just Suzuki, right? Maruti is not there now. Okay. Hero Honda, it's just Hero separate and Honda separate. Correct? They have separated. Renault and Mahindra. Mahindra is separate entity now. Renault is a separate entity. So this is how they come into India. They have come into India through corporate restructuring. They came with a joint venture, came into India, set up their business, ran the business as a joint venture for some time, and then they just said bye-bye to each other, and then they are running their own business in India. Okay, so to overcome entry barriers, also sometimes you go for a joint venture. Okay, let me give a simple example, a kind of lighter example. Okay, suppose you get a good job, let's say, okay, and you go to, let's say, Mumbai. Okay, you get placed into Mumbai. The location is Mumbai, and then you are searching for a nice house. Okay, and you get a nice house, but the condition is that you should be married. The owner puts a condition saying that you should be married. So what do? Normally, you cannot immediately get married. So what do? You get a partner, and you pretend to be married to each other, or you pretend to be fiancés, and then take that house, right? And after some times, when you get another good house, you split and enjoy your life as separate entities, right? That is what is joint ventures. Okay. So on a lighter note, yes, to overcome these entry barriers, so to enter that house, you have to be married. So to overcome that entry barrier, you enter into a contract, get the house, stay in the house, and after some times you are individuals, right? So that is what is entry barriers. Okay. So next one is forms of restructuring. Like this, there are different forms of restructuring where, as I said, it is not only about expansion, but sometimes it is also about contraction. So let's try to understand what are these different forms of restructuring. First one is expansion. Expansion means growing your business. You have 10 units, growing it to 15 units is called as expansion. Okay, then expansion can be done through mergers and acquisitions or reverse merger. I'll tell you what is reverse merger later. First, let us understand what is mergers and acquisition in detail. Okay, so mergers, acquisitions, and reverse mergers, tender offers, joint ventures. These are certain forms of expansion. This is how you can expand. Smart sizing. Now, very important. Smart sizing is basically reducing your size. Okay. Now, in smart sizing, we have two things. One is called as downsizing. Another is called as downscoping. Two different things. Downsizing and downscoping. Now, what is downsizing? Reduction in the number of employees, or sometimes number of operating units. Like you have 10 units, you reduce it to 6 units. That is downsizing. You are reducing your capacity, production capacity. You are reducing your units. That is called as downsizing, reducing the size. Whereas downscoping is basically eliminating unrelated business. Like example again, let's say okay, I'll give you a live example here. Okay. Just give me
They stopped producing mobiles.
Sorry?
Sir, LG, sir.
LG can be, yes, LG can be one of the examples where they started manufacturing mobiles, and then they found that that is not their cup of tea, and then they stopped manufacturing mobile. They came out of that particular business, right? That is what you wanted to say, Narayan?
Yes, sir, LG.
Yes. Okay. Can somebody tell me what is LG? What is the full form of LG without looking into Google?
Life goods.
Life's good.
No, it's not Life's Good. Anyone? Narayan, since you take out or you came up with this example, what is LG?
Lucky Gold Star, sir.
It is Lucky Gold Star. Okay, LG stands for Lucky Gold Star. It is not Life's Good. Okay, it is Lucky Gold Star. So if you remember, we used to get LG smartphones or LG phones, handsets. Okay, So LG started manufacturing handsets, and later because that was not their core business. LG's core business was home appliances. Because they were into home appliances. They diversified into mobile phones or smartphones, and then later realized that it was a huge competition and they would not be able to survive. So they came out of that. They stopped that business of mobile phones. Now you don't get LG handsets. Okay, so that is what is called as downscoping. You're not changing the size of the business. You are just changing the scope of the business. You are having 10 products. From 10 products, you come down to, let's say, only 8 products. 2 products, you come out of that business. That is called as downscoping. Okay, so downsizing is reducing the capacity, production capacity, reducing the units or reducing the employees. That is called as downsizing. Whereas downscoping is reducing your businesses, the various types of businesses, and eliminating unrelated businesses. It's called as downscoping. Are you clear with these two concepts of downsizing and downscoping? Okay, so downscoping can be done through various ways, like spin-offs, split-offs, split-ups, divestitures, equity carve-outs, disinvestment, reconstruction, etc. Okay, now what are these things? I'll be dealing with it in detail in the next module, because the entire next module deals with these things. Okay, so spin-off, what is spin-off, what is split-off, I'll explain you that in the next classes. Okay, so let us right now understand there's something called as downsizing and downscoping. And downscoping happens through spin-offs, split-offs, and split-ups, divestitures, equity carve-outs, disinvestment, restructuring. Okay, briefly I'll just give you an idea, because we're just left with 3 minutes. Okay, so going to the next one. Okay, I can. Okay, let me just give you a brief idea about this. Okay, spin-off is basically when one company, okay, separates one part of its unit and then form a new company, and the shareholders of this existing company are given the shares of that new entity. Okay, on a proportionate basis, or we call it as a pro rata basis. That is called as spin-off. Okay, split off is they split, the two companies split and shares are issued of both the companies, not proportionate shares. If you want to take the shares of this company, you have to surrender the shares of the existing company. That is how split offs happen. And split up is basically one company gets split up into various units, and each unit is independent. That is called as a split up. So in the next classes, we'll be dealing with these things in detail. Okay. Next one is divestitures. Divestitures means basically taking out your money from a particular company is called as divestitures. Equity carve out means selling off your equity. Whatever equity you have in a particular business, you just carve it out or you sell it off. That is called as equity carve out. Disinvestment is again very much similar to divestitures. Okay, where you take out the money from a particular business. Okay, divestitures are normally used in normal corporate world, private sectors, whereas disinvestment is used by government sectors. So you see lots of government undertakings are disinvested, or government is disinvesting from a particular sector. That is called as disinvestment. Then reconstruction external is again reducing the size of the business through external reconstruction. That is another form of downscoping. Okay. Next one is corporate control. This is basically you want to control your organization, so you take lots of measures to get the control of the organization, like premium buyback, standstill agreements, anti-takeover codes, proxy contests. Then change in ownership is exchange offers, buyback of shares. Okay, we'll deal with this in the next class because we are just left with less than a minute. Okay, so I don't want you to have half of the knowledge, but I hope you have understood what are the first two things, that is expansion and smart sizing. And under smart sizing, we have downsizing and downscoping. Are you clear with these concepts? Okay, so what is merger? What is acquisition? What is corporate restructuring? Okay, what are the rationale behind corporate restructuring? I hope you're clear with all these things. If yes, give a thumbs up and we'll end the class. Okay, great. Okay, so I hope you're understanding this. It's a very interesting subject, guys, but your participation is equally important, because if you don't participate, then it's the most boring class.